Hello guys and welcome to a brand new video. I know it's been quite a while, but today I'm here to preview the clásico of clásicos, America versus Guadalajara, or better known yet as Chivas. So, big game this Saturday, big game. I know it's the biggest rivalry in Mexico, as they would say, and a pretty important game for both teams. The Clásico really coming in a little earlier than previous times. It's la Jornada 7, so usually we see a Clásico around the Jornada 11 through 13. So quite a shock that we've got one so early into the season. But nevertheless, it's always good to have something really close by at the beginning. So let's get right into it. And as I preview the game, you guys will be able to see a game that I played in the background of simulation. Who knows, maybe it'll actually come true, maybe it won't, but it's there for your guys' entertainment as I talk over all of this. So, let's begin with the preview. America, obviously at home, big advantage right there. Although many people would say at the moment, not capitalizing home advantage, obviously losing 3-0 against Tigres, and obviously not able to get all 3 points against Morelia. But it is an important game, and it's a game that they'll be looking to play for their home fans and try to win. On the other hand, Guadalajara coming in a little feisty, obviously losing a big player in their star defender, Salcedo, obviously moving on to Fiorentina. Going out for a loan with the option of buying, of course. So that's always great for a young Mexican talent to move and cross the borders over there to Europe. But it leaves a pretty big hole in the defensive side. Obviously, Osvaldo Alanis will be fit enough and will come back into that game. But it will be a question of, will that be a weakness for them in the back? And as I talk about that, actually, I think the team with the biggest weakness is Club America. Let's remember now, Chivas have a better defense so far in the tournament. Only conceding would be 7 goals. Obviously still a lot, but it's not as much as America. America's conceded 9. And at home, it's been 4. So out of those games, they've conceded 4 of 9 in the Estadio Azteca. So, as you can tell, Chivas is really going to try to exploit that. But let's talk quickly formations. Let's see. America is obviously going to hand out that 5-3-2 formation, one that Nacho Luis has really been pushing for this season. And it works well for them because his tactically really is pushing down through the middle, working his way through Chepe Guerrero, Osvaldito, and Sambuesa, and then trying to find space down defense, but they really will push through down the middle. Now, Chivas obviously will go with the 4-2-3-1 formation, and we know it's going to be definitely with 2 central defensive mid because, as statistics have shown so far, Chivas really like to build through the back and really use that center defensive mid of the field to really start creating things. And obviously from there they'll tend to go and explore down the wings, mainly to the right one, of course. But that should be a tactical match right there as well for both coaches. I think Almeida has it pretty clear that America's defense could be shaky from time to time. So we definitely try to exploit that, try to put balls into the box for Salvidar. It's going to be a great game, I think, this Saturday. I think they're really both going to go out for it because, remember, it's early in the season, and really the only thing separating them right now is only 3 points. A victory for Chivas means they could go level with America. And, America winning this game could see themselves go up even high into the table, maybe back to second place where they were kind of steady into the beginning of the Apertura. But who knows? Time will tell, and we'll have to wait to see exactly how these two teams progress. So it'll be an interesting matchup nonetheless. But like I said, quite an important thing to note as well. Chivas has less goals scored than America. Chivas has scored a total amount of 4 goals throughout the tournament so far. 4 goals. One of them was, of course, a penalty, and the other 3 have come, from outside the box play. Let's remember, Chivas did end up giving us a really good game in a Clásico Tapatío against Atlas, where they ended up drawing 2-2. So I mean, 2 goals from there. That's already half of the goals that they scored throughout the season. So that's definitely gonna be an issue following up into this game. But we'll have to wait and see exactly how this all works out. America with 12 goals, of course. It's looking like it's not that hard for them to find the back of the net. It's trying to defend and keep that clean sheet. So I think America is coming in to this match with a better offense, but Chivas is definitely coming in with a better defense. So it's gonna see who's gonna break down who with what. So we'll have to wait and see exactly what happens. But like I said, it should be an interesting one. They're both coming off a draw, so there's not that much momentum that we just picked up a win, and And then the Copa MX, I really don't want to include in this because it's just the Copa MX at this point. It's not gotten down to the final big games where you're finally getting close to the semifinal, the final. So right now the Copa MX is usually just for the canteranos. So another thing to note, so America will not be playing most likely with any canteranos on the field. A lot of news outlets were making it a big deal, but I think at this day and age in football, it's gonna be tougher to see that happen more often, especially in a team like this, America, who's celebrating their centenario, who's looking to just make as much headlines as they can, and with as good of players as they have. That's why they brought in the likes of Silvio Romero, Renato Ibarria, players who aren't necessarily the youngest or necessarily from their own academy. Why? Because they're proven players that can get things going. Although Renato Ibarria has struggled a little bit, and unfortunately for Silvio Romero, he's had to amount to being that big number 9. Silvio Peralta has been out, due to the Olympics, and now because of his injury, which is one thing to note as well, which is speculations that he could play the game, maybe second half. Who knows? He says that he's willing to, but I doubt they'll really risk putting on their star striker. Well, depending as well as how the match goes. So we'll have to wait and see exactly how that works out. But I think now it's time to talk about the big controversial news that has been coming out through this whole week, and that's actually the fact that America's captain, Ruben Sambueza, will be indefinitely playing this game starting after America was able to win their appeal for his red card to be dismissed. Now, I know a lot of people are saying that, they buy the referees and this and that, and I think that's not a good way to look at the match, especially with such a big and important game. I think we can't really look at it in the sense that something's corrupt or something's gone bad, but I think if we look at it, I think from my perspective, I think it was an okay decision from the federation to be like, okay, you're able to play. Now, I feel like maybe he shouldn't play. I think Sambuesa has been one of those players that he was questioned a lot when Miguel Herrera brought him, and then he proved himself to be very talented. The jersey fit him well. I just don't think for my sakes, I would say he's not earned the merit to be this great idol, the likes of Cuauhtémoc Blanco, Cabañas, or Ochoa, or Ortega, or Tena. I don't think he's gotten to that point yet because of not because of the lack of his football, because he plays a very good game every time he steps out on the pitch. It's the fact that he lacks that discipline that I feel like he hasn't been able to amount to that higher step. And I think if he were to work on that, I feel like he'd be a so much better player, because having a player like that who can you can depend on to his skills, but knowing that one wrong move and his temper is gonna get the best of him, and now you're losing one of your best players on the pitch, and now you're starting to think, well, how am I gonna cover his spot? Who's gonna take his position? How am I gonna deal with that? So it kind of gets frustrating, I'm assuming, especially from a manager's point of view. But it is what it is. He will definitely start. We all know that. It's just, I hope to see a little bit more of a less temperamented Sambuesa and more of a less temperamented America side. Let's remember, America last season was going crazy on the amount of red cards that they were receiving each game or each other game. I think in the defensive sense, I think Paulo Götze has mainly worked on his tackles and his aggression, as well as Pablo Aguilar. But I mean, we come to the same constant that Sambuesa has just not proven himself to be this great player to be able to hold his temper. So, but I mean, we'll have to wait exactly to see how it is. Of course, another player grabbing the headlines would be their main striker, Chivas' big striker, of course, Saldivar. Of course, after taking that penalty kick against Atlas, getting the call up from Osorio to get to the Selección Mexicana. Obviously, I think, everyone was saying that that came out of the blue, that no one really knows why, but, merit to him, he's done pretty well so far. I mean, he's young, he's had to, carry the weight of being the number 9 in Chivas, and that's never going to be an easy role to play. But, I mean, I would have to say one thing, and that's, his call to Selección may be a little bit merited by the fact that we don't really have anyone to cover that hole that Chicharito and Oriol Peralta have left, because obviously both injured. So that leads to the fact that who's going to play against alongside Raul Alonso Jimenez, and I think he was one of the best choices. Of course, not really anybody else shining out there to do the job, but we'll see. We'll have to wait and see. He's gonna have to have a pretty strong game to really convince everybody that he could be a pretty good call up to the national side. But we'll have to wait and see exactly how that all works out. But in the meantime, I think that this game is gonna have a lot of tackles. It's gonna be a very physical game. I think we're gonna see the ball worked a lot down through the middle, especially from both teams. I think America is gonna try to hold on to the ball more. And most likely Chivas will come out press just the way they did it in the Liga, of course. And they're definitely going to take shots outside the box. That's just been them. They haven't been able to work it through exactly. I mean, Saldivar is not really the best target man out there. But we'll have to wait and see exactly how it goes. I think a couple of players to note would definitely be Darwin Quintero. I think he could be a very, very useful player in this game, as well as Pablo Aguilar. What he could do on the wings, he tends to show up in these games. So, as a America fan, I'm hoping he does. Like I've mentioned before, Alanis, we'll have to wait and see how he can adapt and cope with everything. But in the end, I think it's going to be a very, very close game. I think it's going to be very fought out there in the pitch. We're going to see a really good game. It's going to be a very tight game. I don't think it's going to be like my simulation, but I think I'm going to go with a 1-0 or 2-0 America victory at home. So I'll hope for the best. But that's my preview, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please like, subscribe. I'm going to try to do more videos for FIFA 17. And like I said, until next time, take care.